I really like Grime. And not the kind you'd see under my grubby gamer nails, or the kind you'd see me straight spitting at your local youth club. No, I'm talking about the 2021 game developed by Cloverbyte and released by Akapura Games. Grime is a game like Dark Souls, which is 3D, except if you took Dark Souls and made it 2D by taking out one of the Ds, which therefore makes it 33% less gay, but also makes me 33% less satisfied. It's a great game though for pretty much any reason in the book. The enemy design is always kept interesting. The game keeps finding new ways to make angular insectoid anthropods look unique and unlike anything you've seen before. At the start of the game, you're coming up against gangly appendages sticking out of objects, barely even conscious and aimlessly grappling at any source of movement. Then, even when you fight something that can move, it doesn't seem to have much control over itself, and instead kind of lunges at you like I do when I see a pot of toxic waste. So when, as you go through the game and start fighting bigger creatures with scarier mandibles and these great hulking limbs, they seem even more opposing than they would in a normal game because you started with such tiny niblets. This intense sense of danger is helped by the animation, especially with the bosses, which is about as otherworldly as you can get without losing touch with the 12 principles of animation. Each attack has a perfect amount of wind-up and anticipation before being let off, which is important because one of the major mechanics of Grime is a repel/parry thing that directs the damage back towards the attacker. So it is critically important that the animations of each and every attack feels like the hit itself can be anticipated, which makes it a viable strategy instead of dodging or trying to break through their attack string. Grime is pretty successful at this. I found that within a couple of encounters with each enemy type, I could get their repel times down pretty consistently, and I would pull it off without even really thinking about it, almost as if it was happening naturally. Natural. That's a funny word. Is it natural for spiky red brambles to cover up essential paths completely? I guess. But is it natural for branch human hybrids to have to chase you down like they want to kiss your ass with tongue? Or for a vulture to have its bones exposed and corroding and rotting from the inside out? I don't know. And that is one of the most interesting aspects of Grime to me, is that it blurs the line between natural and unnatural, and in doing so creates an aesthetic that leans more towards the perversion of the natural. As in, what you are seeing for the majority of the game is a bastardization of what it should be, which in turn creates a powerful sense of mystery of what unknowable threat you can encounter next. And you know for sure, it's not going to be the nicest of things. As you already know, based on what I've already said, Grime is heavily inspired by Metroidvanias like Dark Souls, but what I like to focus on is not what it keeps the same, like a stamina bar or an interconnected world, but what it decides to change. Because it is through evolution that one becomes human, and it is through evolution that we will all eventually become the Flood. Grime has unique mechanics that do set it apart from other 2D Souls-likes, such as the repel which I mentioned earlier, and another ability which allows you to propel yourself off of certain enemies and objects, but only at a precise moment, which allows for larger attack windows than you would otherwise get. Using this ability feels awesome, and like the repel, it takes some getting used to, because the angle at which you are propelled depends on your orientation to the object that you're propelling from. So when you get it right and can start consistently using it, it feels great because you learned to do that. The game didn't just give it to you arbitrarily after some checkpoints. It's a skill you had to improve for your own sake. But where I really like Grime, where I think it shines the most, is when it decides to go further than the Souls games in terms of difficulty and tomfoolery. For example, the fact that it's difficult at all is a bit of a troll. In Dark Souls you start out as the definition of lowly, so it makes a lot of sense that the difficulty of the game is going to be somewhat equivalent to eating a glass sandwich or stopping the demons in your head from killing the angels in your heart. But in Grime, everyone you meet already knows you to be some kind of super powerful mega chad who is destined to overthrow the powers that be. And, spoiler alert, even the final boss is terrified of you and thinks for sure that you're going to destroy him easily, to the point where half the game is just him sending you on fetch quests to get items that will make him more powerful so he has a better chance at defeating you. I'm not entirely sure what the developers were going for with this decision, but I'm glad they did it because it creates this really interesting and unique imposter syndrome within the player. Everyone in this game is telling me that it should be easy. So why am I getting my ass handed to me at every step? Why do I feel the need to go on a 20-minute expedition to upgrade my weapon just one more time, so this boss might be marginally easy enough to actually be killed? I'll tell you why. Because I'm a fraud. And the game wants me to feel like a moron. You can put me in front of a really hard Jonathan Blow puzzle, and I'll cry and I'll bitch and I'll moan, but eventually I'll do it, and I'll feel really clever. But if you tell me that I'm amazing at something, but I struggle through it for an endless amount of time, then when I do eventually complete it, I'm still going to feel like an absolute dum-dum. It's pretty mean. But because of the polish and the consistently great game design shown on display in Grime, it really works for creating a likable and memorable experience. So yeah, play Grime. I really recommend it. Out of the 2 games that came out in 2021 that I actually played, it's definitely my favourite. I'll get to you. Mark my fucking words. Someone needs me. This one's for you! 1, 2, 3, okay. You're walking on hot coals, now you fucking, you're a joke, yeah, you're a hoax, and now I've found you out. And you think the brains in your head are worth breathing this smoke and itchy throats and feeling happy. And I could be your man all day, and you can look inside my brain and see this one thing. And then it disappears like smoke and you're alone.